Here is something most gardeners find out the hard way, usually standing in their yard sometime in August, staring at a bed full of green leaves and wondering what happened to all the color. Most perennials bloom once. You plant them in spring, they flower for a few weeks, maybe 4, maybe 6 if you're lucky, and then they spend the rest of the summer just sitting there. Green leaves, no color, no life, taking up space in the one season your yard should look its absolute best. But there's a second kind of perennial. Plants that when you put them in the ground in June, right now, when the soil is warm and the days are long, they settle in fast and bloom from summer all the way through fall. Not 3 weeks of color, 3 to 4 months. 10 of them are on this list. Plant number 7 is the one that most American gardeners have walked past at the nursery their entire lives without stopping. When you see what it does in your garden, you'll never walk past it again. And plant number 10 is the one I saved for last. Stay for that one. Let's start. Number 1. Coneflower. Before I tell you why coneflower belongs at the top of this list, I want to tell you something about what has happened to this plant in the last decade. Because the echinacea your grandmother grew, that single, stiff, purple cone standing alone in the back border, is not what is sitting in nurseries across America right now. Plant breeders have completely transformed it. Walk into any decent garden center today and you will find coneflowers in coral, deep red, golden yellow, creamy white, soft peach, and bicolors that look like they belong on a painter's canvas. Among the newest varieties available right now is Revelation Coral, which produces the biggest blooms of any coneflower yet bred, blooms from June all the way through October, and carries a fragrance that stops people mid-step. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, coast-to-coast adaptability that almost no other perennial can match. Here is the one tip that makes the difference between a coneflower that looks good for a season and one that builds into something spectacular over years. Do not cut the seed heads down in fall. Leave them standing through winter. Goldfinches and chickadees depend on those seeds when the ground is frozen and every other food source is gone. There is something genuinely moving about standing at your window on a January morning, watching a goldfinch on a seed head from a plant you put in the ground last June. That is what coneflower gives you: summer color, fall structure, winter life. Southern gardeners in zones 7 through 9 give yours some afternoon shade during the hottest weeks of summer. That one adjustment is the difference between a plant that thrives and one that burns out before Labor Day. Number 2. Black-eyed Susan. Most people think of black-eyed Susan as ordinary. They have seen it everywhere: meadows, roadsides, nursery benches, and they assume because it grows wild, it must not be special. That is exactly backward. The reason black-eyed Susan shows up everywhere in American landscapes is because it is one of the most reliable, long-blooming, and structurally important perennials in this country. Now, one thing worth knowing before you shop, there are 2 different plants that both get called black-eyed Susan. Rudbeckia hirta, the one most people picture, actually behaves more like a biennial. It self-sows freely and comes back, but from seed each year. Rudbeckia fulgida, the true perennial, is the one to reach for. It comes back from its own roots, grows into larger clumps with every passing year, and blooms from June straight through September without the leaf disease problems that made the older types look ragged and worn by midsummer. Ask for the fulgida species at your nursery. It is the version that stays clean, stays lush, and just keeps flowering. And when September arrives and monarch butterflies begin their journey south toward Mexico, they stop at Rudbeckia specifically. A yard full of these in late summer is a legitimate way station on one of the most extraordinary migrations on this planet. Number 3. Perennial Salvia. Every July, every gardener faces the same moment. The spring bloomers are finished, the fall plants have not started yet, and the garden looks spent, flat, colorless, like it gave up. Perennial Salvia, Salvia nemorosa, is the plant that was built for exactly that moment. From late spring through summer, it fills that gap with deep violet, cobalt blue, and rich burgundy red. These are not pale, washed-out summer colors. These are saturated, intense hues that hold their depth through full summer heat, when every pastel in your border has already faded.
Hardy in zones 4 through 9, here is the one thing that doubles your bloom season. After the first flush of flowers finishes, cut the spent spikes back to the next set of leaves. Do not skip this. Within 2 weeks, new stems push out from those cuts. The plant blooms again. Sometimes a third round follows after that. One clean cut, 2 or 3 rounds of bloom. That is the entire management plan for one of the most beautiful summer perennials available to American gardeners right now. Planted in front of ornamental grasses, alongside golden black-eyed Susans, the contrast between that deep violet and those warm yellows stops people at the sidewalk.
Number 4. Coreopsis. Coreopsis, also called tickseed, is the perennial that answers a question most gardeners have been asking without realizing it. What plant blooms long, handles heat and drought, thrives in average soil, and actually performs worse when you pay too much attention to it? Coreopsis. Some varieties start in late spring and do not stop flowering until the first hard freeze, 4 to 5 months of cheerful yellow, gold, and pink blooms. Over-fertilizing it makes it floppy and actually reduces flowers. Lean soil, full sun, and minimal fuss. That is when Coreopsis runs. The threadleaf varieties, with their delicate feathery foliage, are especially well-suited to the South and Midwest, where summers are long, hot, and unforgiving. Birds love the seeds. Bees work the flowers consistently from first bloom to last. And once established, you will rarely think about this plant because it never gives you a reason to worry.
Number 5. Agastache. If you want hummingbirds in your yard, not occasionally, not by chance, but reliably week after week from midsummer through fall, plant Agastache. The tubular flowers are shaped precisely for hummingbird bills. Plant a few in a sunny spot, and within days of them coming into bloom, ruby-throated hummingbirds in the east and broad-tailed hummingbirds in the west will locate them. Agastache blooms from midsummer through hard frost, making it one of the strongest late-season performers on this entire list. When everything else in your border is starting to wind down in August and September, Agastache is just hitting its peak. The summer-long series brings colors to this plant that did not exist a few years ago: vivid coral, deep magenta, soft peach, gentle lilac, and every one of them draws pollinators like nothing else in a late-season garden can. Hardy in zones 5 through 10 depending on variety. One non-negotiable requirement: sharp drainage. Planted in gritty, well-amended soil with excellent water movement, and it thrives for years. Planted in heavy clay that holds moisture through winter, and it rots at the crown, even inside its hardiness zone. Get the drainage right, and this plant gives you months of color and more hummingbird activity per square foot than almost anything else on this list. Southwest and southern gardeners in zones 7 through 10, Agastache was built for your conditions. It does not just survive your summers, it flourishes through them.
Number 6. Catmint. Nothing gives you more continuous color for less effort across more months than a well-placed catmint border. The flowers are a soft lavender blue, and when a full planting hits its stride in late May and June, it looks like a low purple cloud sitting right at ground level. That bloom does not stop, but only if you know the one thing that keeps it going. Right after that first big June flush, when the initial wave of flowers starts to fade, cut the entire plant back by 1/3. Not a light trim, a real cut. Down by 1/3. It feels aggressive, do it anyway. Within 3 to 4 weeks, it returns fuller and more loaded with color than the first time. Every gardener who tries this for the first time has the same reaction. I should have done this years ago. Hardy in zones 3 through 8, northern Minnesota to the mid-Atlantic, this plant was built for you. Put it along pathways, drape it over the front edge of a border, let it spill down a slope. It spreads beautifully without ever becoming a problem. One honest note, cats will roll in this enthusiastically. It is not something you need to manage. Honestly, it is entertaining to watch. Number 7. Balloon flower. The one I promised you at the beginning. Balloon flower. If you have never grown this plant, and most American gardeners have not, let me tell you what it actually looks like. Before each flower opens, the bud swells into a perfect five-sided balloon shape, geometrically precise, puffy, almost too perfect to be real. Then it splits open into a wide, star-shaped flower in the deepest, cleanest blue-purple you will find anywhere in a summer garden. Not a vague lavender, not a blue that reads as purple, a true, clear, almost electric blue that makes everything planted beside it look more beautiful. It blooms from June through August, hardy in zones 3 through 8, low maintenance, deer-resistant, long-lived. Here's the tip that saves this plant for most gardeners. Balloon flower is very late to emerge in spring. Most people see bare soil in April and May where their balloon flowers should be sprouting and assume the plant died over winter. They dig it up, they replant, and they kill a plant that was perfectly alive, simply running on its own schedule. Do not dig it up. Mark the spot in fall so you know where it is. Wait until late May or even early June. It will come. And when that blue-purple balloon first appears in your garden, you will understand immediately why I told you not to walk past it at the nursery.
Number 8. Gloriosa Daisy, Rudbeckia hirta, Indian Summer. I mentioned Rudbeckia fulgida earlier, the true perennial black-eyed Susan. This is a different plant entirely. Rudbeckia hirta, the Gloriosa Daisy variety called Indian Summer, is grown as a short-lived perennial or biennial. It self-sows and returns freely each year. And the reason it earns a spot on this list is one specific number, 7 inches. Where the standard black-eyed Susan produces familiar 2 to 3 inch flowers, Indian Summer produces blooms up to 7 inches across, in mahogany, burnt orange, deep red, and golden yellow with that signature dark chocolate center. When this plant hits full bloom in July and August, it is the kind of thing that makes people actually slow their car down and stare at your yard. It blooms from June until frost. It self-sows freely, meaning next spring, without you doing a single thing, more plants will appear exactly where they should be. One plant this June becomes a drift of color next summer. It also makes extraordinary cut flowers. Blooms cut in the morning hold in a vase for a week or more. Every arrangement on your kitchen table from July through September can come from your own yard.
Number 9. Penstemon. The hummingbirds figured this one out long before American gardeners did. Penstemon, also called beard tongue, is native to North America. It evolved here. It belongs here. Number 9. Penstemon. The hummingbirds figured this one out long before American gardeners did. Penstemon, also called beard tongue, is native to North America. It evolved here. It belongs here. And with over 280 species, there are varieties adapted to nearly every U.S. region, from dry Rocky Mountain slopes to humid southeastern gardens to cold northern borders in zones 3 and 4. The tubular flowers come in vivid scarlet, rich purple, deep pink, and soft lavender, and they are shaped precisely to admit hummingbird bills while providing nectar that keeps those birds returning to your garden week after week. Plant 3 or more together in a sunny, well-drained spot, and from late spring through mid-summer, with certain varieties continuing into fall, hummingbirds will find them reliably. Hardy in zones 3 through 9 depending on species. Now, here is the one critical thing to know about penstemon, the exact reason most gardeners lose it in the first winter. Do not cut it back in fall. Those old stems protect the crown from freeze damage through the cold months. Cutting them back in autumn is the #1 reason this plant fails to return in zones 4, 5, and 6. Leave them standing through winter. Cut them back in late spring when new growth appears. The plant knows what it is doing. Let it. Number 10. Heuchera. Every other plant on this list earns its place through flowers. Heuchera earns it differently. The flowers are real and beautiful, delicate wands of coral, pink, and cream that rise above the foliage from late spring through midsummer. Hummingbirds visit them regularly, but the real performance is the foliage. Deep burgundy, burnt caramel, lime green, silver, plum, copper. Colors that hold through the season long after the flowers have finished. In zone 6 and warmer, that foliage holds nearly year-round. which makes heuchera one of the only perennials that gives you visual interest through winter as well as summer. And it genuinely thrives in shade, which makes it one of the most valuable plants you can put under trees, along the north side of a structure, in those spots where almost nothing else will grow with any color or visual interest. Hardy in zones 4 through 9. One thing to do every spring, especially in zones 4 through 6, heuchera heaves out of the soil over winter as the ground freezes and thaws repeatedly. Walk your beds in early spring. If the crowns have pushed up above the soil, press them firmly back down. Add a light layer of mulch around the base. That one habit, done once a year in March, keeps your heucheras healthy for a decade. This is the plant that solves the shade problem most gardeners have given up on, and every season it is in the ground, it gets a little better.
10 perennials, all of them plantable right now, in June. All of them coming back next year and the year after that. Which one of these 10 are you heading to the nursery for first? Drop it in the comments and add your zone if you can. Someone in your exact climate is reading that answer and making their own planting decision right now. Subscribe if this gave you something useful. More of this every week.